yes. Listen, Scott, we haven't spoken like we said for some time. I wish we had, because I could have got your initial thoughts on what is wow 2020. Did anyone have a monolith appearing in the Utah desert on their bingo card? Maybe you did. But what did you think, right, when you first seen the whole Utah monolith coming into play? What was your thoughts when that big bad boy that was down there, found by the BLM, not the ones in the streets, but the actual Bureau of Land Management, you know those guys, flying over the Utah desert, counting sheep? Sounds like a perfect job for a Highlander. But then down below, shimmering in a place inaccessible, you know. What's that, Bruce? And it wasn't Bruce, because it was in America. Maybe his name was Bruce, I can't remember. But they spotted a shiny monolith. What was your thoughts, man?
So when I first heard about this, I think it was either I think it was my mom. She was like, "They found a monolith in Utah." And I was like, "What?" It's like, wait, hold on, back up, repeat that. She's like, "They found a monolith in the middle of nowhere in Utah." You know, I was like, a monolith, like a monolith? Yeah. And then she showed me the picture. I was like, "Whoa, okay."
A monolith.
I was like, a monolith. Okay, cool. You know, and you know, my first initial reaction. Well, first of all, the first thing that popped in my head, I was like, "Oh, I think Kev Baker has some content for today."
Oh, I have had some yardage. I have had more yardage out of this than the monolith actually measures.
Yeah, that was the first thing that racked in my head. I was like, "Oh boy, I bet Kev Baker's having a heyday with this."
That first one, how did they get it into the ground? I mean, what a logistical nightmare to get this into a place that, thanks to, you know, our internet sleuths on Reddit, I was comparing it to when Shia LaBeouf went on the run, Scott, and all the Reddit people tracked him down. I said it wouldn't take them long. It took them minutes to locate and time date that this appeared there, like 2016 time. But when you look at the floor, it's like solid rock, dude. I mean, how do you even do that?
So, I mean, here's a few questions that I have to wonder. Okay, so...
And don't worry, folks, because we're keeping you waiting, because there's a second one. We know the second one, but we're also going to get a new one. Yeah, you see, you got to keep them hanging, Scott. We've got like 9 minutes. Here we go.
So I don't think that the structure is solid. I think it's just like a frame with an outer shell. So
that's displayed by the guys that chopped it down. When they chopped it down, it was definitely hollow, and people weren't happy with the rivets that were in it either.
No, there was some very modern man building techniques. So any thought of it being of some unknown alien origin, blah, blah, blah. No, that's not the case. You know, this was obviously some kind of art piece or something, you know, I don't even want to say performance art, but well, one of these things that was kind of dropped out in the middle of nowhere with the hopes that eventually somebody would find it and freak out and be like, "Whoa," you know, and that's exactly
boy, did the world do that.
Yeah, that is exactly what happened. What I also found funny about the whole situation is you had, you know, the federal agents out there, the BLM, you know, telling people, "Don't come out here. It could be dangerous. It could fall on you." While they showed pictures of federal agents like climbing on top of it and all of that stuff. I'm like, wow, that's okay. If it's so dangerous, why are you guys like standing on each other's shoulders, jumping on top of the monolith? And,
you know, we would never have seen that video if it genuinely like a bona fide Stargate effect had happened and somebody'd fallen into a wormhole when he got on top, right?
Yeah, we would have never heard about that if a couple of
no. So,
can you imagine a couple of BLM guys walk in there and all of a sudden it's just like whoom, and they just
walk out the Stargate at the other end, man, into a world of dinosaurs and stuff. But that was one, right? And then we had this next one, which turned up in Romania, and it had like a different finish on it. It was like a more polished type finish, right? It had like swirls and stuff, but this popped up in the days following the Utah one disappearing. And before we had found out what had happened to the Utah one, news of the Romanian one started to circulate. Now, did you catch when that when that broke as well, did that hit your news feed?
Because once again, it was my mom. She's like, they found another one.
Your mom's awesome. She's like mine, dude. They're like our little like internet sleuths dropping us info bombs, man.
Yeah, because she informed me that the first one had disappeared. I didn't know it was cut down. So at first I was like, it disappeared. Like, how did it disappear? I was like, that's weird, you know? Like, I hadn't been like following the whole thing like intently, but I just, it was a very interesting. But hey, what here's an interesting piece of woo, Kev. No, I mean, it's just, I'm just throwing it out there.
Come on, dude. Woo is well allowed in this case, man.
What if the one in Romania is actually the one from Utah and it teleported?
Well, okay. Now I've got you covered there because when I was on with Nano Girl the other day, we just got ready to talk about the monolith in Utah and Romania when news broke about the dudes that had chopped it down. There was like these adrenaline junkies went there, but this is the weird thing, right? If people remember the show I done with Nano, it's in the archives, it's on BitChute as well. But I was like, oh, who the heck gave this douche canoe the right to do this kind of thing, right? You can go back and check that, but check the headline out in the Daily Mail. What a douche. Who put him in charge? Now, I'm not saying that they listen to me, but I tell you what, at least other people agreed with me because this guy's getting a bit of a backlash for taking it down. But when you actually get into it here, you can see it was a hollow structure. And what he's going to do with it, not too sure. I haven't really read that full article. But this was the guy that done it. And he done it, right? He done it to Scott because he said something silly like, you know, if you go leaving stuff on public ground or private ground, don't cry when it gets lifted or something. Something weird like that. Yeah.
What do they call him? They call him Sketchy Andy.
Is that what they call him? Yeah, Sketchy Andy. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. No, he doesn't hold anything to our spooky Andy.
No, our spooky Andy's the man. So listen, we've had the one in Utah. It's gone. Sketchy Andy took it. We've got the one over in Romania. Absolutely fantastic too. Oh, golden story. But you can't beat the trifecta. And now we're going all the way to California. Check this out. Boom. I'm going to drop this over in the TFR chat room in just a moment. But we're looking at one that is very similar to the one we've seen in Utah. And if you zoom in, you see very similar rivets. It's almost as if it's made in the same way. Is it a copy of the
same guy?
Yeah, it might be the same. Is it? It's definitely of the same batch, I think. Now, to bring people the story here, now give me a moment. There's another picture of it there, Scott. I'll let you. I'm going to go over to the chat room, post this for TFR. But your initial thoughts on the third one, bro?
Well, I think now we're in a phase where we're going to start seeing these things pop up everywhere. And you're going to see a lot of copycat monoliths, and this is just going to be a thing, kind of like you said during the break, right? How the whole clown thing, this spooky clown thing, or the creepy clown stuff kind of became a phenomenon for a while. I think we're looking at one of these incidents where these monoliths are going to be this like weird phenomena that we're going to deal with for maybe, I don't know, a couple months or a year, something like, you know, it's going to go on for a little bit where these things are going to start being found. And, you know, just because it's a strange, weird story. And then you're going to have people going, hey, man, maybe we should go put one out somewhere.
I actually thought we'd have seen more of. I thought we would have seen more like that by now, Scott. Big time. There's another one of the Algo's got a good one that he's just posted to me as well. That's a cracking picture of it. Let me bring it up here. Yeah, very like it. Now, if we come over to the story, then it says hikers discover mysterious shiny metal monolith atop a pine mountain in Atascadero. Yeah, I'll do. That'll do it. Yay! It'll do anyway.
Yeah.
So it says in something that could be right out of a 1968 movie. 2001: A Space Odyssey. Doo-doo. A large shiny monument was discovered Wednesday at the top of a peak at Atascadero, and it's a three-sided. It's about 10 feet tall. Right, this is looking. It's sounding similar height as well, and it appears to be made of stainless steel. Observers have called it a monolith or obelisk, similar to the one reported in Utah last month. And Paso Robles resident Ronel Volk came upon it Wednesday morning on a hike to the top of Pine Mountain. I was hiking Stadium Park this morning, which I do about once a week. And as I was walking up the trail, I was surprised to see something shiny at the top of the hill, she said. When I got to the top, it was a triangular prism, and it looked to be about 10 feet tall, and it was metal. We're out of time, folks. Don't go anywhere. Keep it TFR. We'll be back tomorrow for Freaky Friday. So yes, wherever you are, make it TFR and dinny touch that dial. Okay, so we're going to keep recording here. And we're going to keep going for all you disco savages out there.
Yeah.
Yes, let's do it.
We could touch upon it tomorrow too, as well.
Yeah, big time, man, big time. So it says, I was surprised to see it since I have no idea why it was there. I posted it on Facebook to see if anyone knew what it was for, Volk said. Now, at that point, I didn't know about any previous news story about the monolith in Utah. That's because you're spending your time far more productively out walking in nature. Keep it up. I thought it was interesting. I was really curious as to who put it there and why. I also thought to myself, I would never again miss the right trail to head back down the hill because now I have a landmark. I spoke to another hiker who told me he hikes the trail daily and it wasn't there yesterday. So several other local hikers followed the same trail on Wednesday and posted dozens of photos to social media. So this is good. When you get dozens of different photos, you're starting to lower the chances of photoshoppery and bullbaggery going on. And when you look at the actual sun coming into this picture, all the shadows are right. I mean, I've got no reason to think this is just a Photoshop fake or anything. Who put it there, though? Myself and Scott will get to in a moment. So it says Terry Banish with the city of Atascadero said that the Atascadero Land Preservation Society oversees the property at Pine Mountain and had no additional comment on the monument. Mike Orvis, president of the Atascadero Land Preservation Society, said that he does not have any information on the monolith when it appeared or who is responsible. And hikers have confirmed the structure is there, he said. 2020 continues to be an interesting year. Oh, yes, indeed. So, Scott, your thoughts on this bad boy right here? What are you thinking, man? Now we've got three of them.
It looks very similar to the Utah one.
Very.
The one in, where was it? Romania? Is that where it was at?
Totally different. Yeah, totally different altogether.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I mean, look at the kind of fine, I was calling it Damascus type finish to the steel, because when you watch them making swords and things, it's like a decorative design they put on it. But it's definitely different.
Took one of those buffing tools and it spun the spirals. It's
way different, dude. Right? It's way different.
Yeah, it's not as polished or anything like that. Or it's got that weird. But that one and the one in Utah look very similar, and it makes me wonder if it's the same guy, possibly.
Could possibly. It looks like the same people made it, because like you can see the rivets down there.
It's got that same construction.
Yep. Like now. So not what your thoughts, Scott? Come on, are we dealing with like some end times triangular prism stuff that is coming from the heavens, lining up with the solstice, and we're all going to be zapped up in a UFO when Hale Bop comes back again? Not yet.
No. I just think that this was some guy or a group of individuals. Like I said, this occurred 5 years ago. 2015. Around that time frame. They were like, "Hey, man, let's put this build this thing that looks like a monolith and just kind of set it out in the middle of nowhere and see if somebody eventually finds it and if it gets some traction or whatever." And hey, I mean, they obviously did a pretty good job of hiding it for a while. I mean, they went out to a pretty remote area because it took 5 years before the Bureau of Land Management just happened to fly over with a helicopter and see it, reflecting down there. And we're like, whoa, what the hell is that?
Probably that. I'm not saying
def-
probably, but I mean, there's probably another aspect of this we're not even taking into account. I mean, we had that Nexium cult that were rounded up in America recently, right? And that's just an
Yeah.
example. I'm not saying Nexium, but there's so many groups and things going on that you don't know, because that, like, look at the area. It's like perfect, right? You're all, I get it's away, it's tucked out, but there's so many things it could be that are unfortunately down to
yeah,
earth as opposed to 2001 Space Odyssey stuff, you know?
Yeah, and I'm not like poo-pooing on some of this because, first of all, we don't know the intent. I mean, we don't even know who actually did it.
Exactly.
We're merely speculating based off of what we see, that it was some art piece that someone put out there, right? But we don't know the intent of whoever put that out there was. I mean, was it something for a ritualistic purpose? Right? I mean, are we talking about some kind of like something that was erected out there, like a cult or something? And then they go to this place maybe every once a year or something like that, and they meet around the monolith or whatever purpose this thing has, and they do their whatever they do out there, right? We don't know what the intent behind it was. I mean, it could be something.
But it's great woo, right? It's great conversation, man.
You can go so many different directions with it. I mean, everything to me, rules out the whole alien,
Unfortunately,
thing.
I'm with you. Unfortunately, my logical side says, come on, Kev. You know?
There's no alien or unknown origin kind of thing to
Not
it.
an elevator door to the other side or anything like that, you know?
But that doesn't necessarily kill the woo, because now we have to figure out who put it there and why and what was the purpose.
You see, we live in the voids, Scott. Where there's a void of information and data, that's where me and Scott Lopez, we excel. It really is. And this is going to, I bet you, this story, and we're going to cover it on Freaky Friday as well, so there'll be more on it.
Yeah.
Don't even be surprised if there's a fourth one by tomorrow, folks. Because
don't
I would imagine,
a lot more of these popping up, because now it's become this thing, right?
It's viral.
Yeah, I see everybody talking about it
There's
now.
There's dopamine to be had, Scott. There's dopamine to be had, dude. So, yeah, we'll address this on Freaky Friday tomorrow. And never forget that we actually have our own monolith here on the show. There we go. We've actually got the monolith.